have gotten so much response on this particular webinar alone, just how to build a business without being a salesperson. So, folks, I hope you're ready to either shoot us some questions or just get ready to listen in of what we're going to be talking about today. Truly, folks, this is a very, very important question, because so many, when they get started with their business, they're always wondering, how do I get this business going? I'm not really good at being in sales, so how do I do all of this? So today, we're going to answer that question. So without any further ado, let me again introduce myself. I'm Eric with American Business Systems. I'm head of research and development here at ABS, and been here just a little over 6 years, and not looking to go anywhere else except where I am currently today. We want to make sure that you can hear us. Certainly we have our number right here if you need to dial in, but also for those that have been on the calls once before, if you don't mind clicking that little hand icon, and that will let me know on my end that you can hear me. So let's see if we can get some hands coming up. Pratap, good to see you. Richard, thanks for putting your hand up there. Bob, Chu, Gary, Trudy, Rose, good to have everyone here this afternoon. We are getting some more people coming on in, so we'll just let those folks come on in here. Now, as you can see here on the screen, we want to hear from you. During the webinar today, there are placed on your little control panel, there's a place there in which you can type in your questions. So we want you to type in any questions you have for Patrick and I today. So be sure to type in your questions there, and you can do that now. You can do that while we get to a topic, whichever you want to do. You're free to be able to type in any of your questions there. Well, we want to introduce you, for those that are brand new to our webinars. We want to let you know a little bit about American Business Systems. We've been around for 20 years now, and we've helped folks all over the country. We've got licensees just about in every state of America here, including some places even further than that, like Hawaii. But we've been helping people just like you for the last 20 years, and each one of these people that you're seeing here on the screen are very successful licensees that have come to training and gone out there and built this particular business. Also, we want to let you know we just got awarded the top home-based and work-from-home franchises for 2014. One award-winning company here at American Business Systems. You can see our little plaque down there for April of 2014. So if you're looking for credibility, that's certainly one place you can check out there at franchisedirect.com. Here's our website, folks. So we want to draw your attention to absystems.com. There you can go find out more about us. You can go check us out there where it says About Us. Check out the business package, income potential. But folks, really where all the information lies is behind these little orange buttons. And when you click on one of those, that's going to get you over to our virtual brochure. Now there are several sections to this, as you can see here. Welcome, the opportunity, getting clients, and inside those sections are subsections that you can go through, full of information and videos and calculations and all sorts of things like that. Well, what makes us stand out from the rest of the medical billing companies out there is our system, iClaim and EMRX. If you've been on webinars before, you know that we will offer you a demo of our system. So if you've never seen our system, if you've ever been in medical billing before, you must see what our system can do. We'll be happy to take you through that. And again, it is certainly an award-winning piece of software. We are and still have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, so you can certainly check us out there. You can find us in the Fort Worth area, Better Business Bureau. So check us out there with an A+ rating. Please come by and visit us. We are located in Keller, Texas, which is just north of Fort Worth, in a little community up north of there at 5751 Kroger Drive. So please come on by and visit with us. We'd love to visit with you before you want to get to training, because once you get to training, there's not any time. We're so socked in there with the information. A lot of people ask us about, can I come visit you during the week of training? Speaking of our next week of training, it is July the 7th through the 11th. That's July 7th through the 11th. We just wrapped up a wonderful training group of people just last week. We're excited about getting this one going here in July. So we've got a little bit of time. You got the full month of June, last part of year of May, full month of June, and the first week of July to get everything ready to come on out here to our training workshop. Now, let me introduce you to our founder and CEO of the company, Patrick Phillips. Patrick, he and his wife started this company, like I said, a little over 20 years ago, because that's when they actually started doing the medical billing business, but really got ABS kicked off there again in just 20 years ago. He has written several books. One on the left is How to Reprogram Yourself for Success, and then one on the right where he co-authored with a CPA friend of his, Cash Crunch to Cash Flow. And this book is really focused in on your needs as a medical billing company. He is also featured in the BC, that's the Billing and Coding Advantage magazine. It is a nationwide magazine, real magazine. This is not just some web type of magazine. This is a regular magazine that goes out bi-monthly. So it's an April, May, what we're showing you right here is April, May of 2014. He'll have another article coming out in the next one as well, and we'll showcase that one here in the next few weeks as we get into those next few weeks. So without any further ado, let me bring Patrick on the line. So Patrick, let's populate your video there, and people are asking, but Patrick, I'm not a salesperson. What will we do here?
Well, yeah, I love this picture because this is exactly the face that we get from people when they're talking to us about getting into this business. I mean, this is the biggest fear that everybody has, not just this business, but people who are looking at starting their own business that's never owned a business and has no background in business or sales or marketing, that kind of thing. It's a big concern for them, isn't it, Eric?
Yes, it is. And this is not just this particular business. You know, over the last week or so, as I've been researching and trying to get some information about this, this is really across the board with all franchises, all business opportunities are out there. So it doesn't matter if we're dealing in medical billing and dealing with doctors, or if we're trying to start up a let's go scrape gum off the bottom of the restaurant tables there.
Yeah, that's a real franchise, by the way, Gum Busters. So, Eric, I thought we would just start out by just asking people a question. What is it that comes to your mind when you think of sales or a salesperson? Think about the words that are coming to your mind right now as you think about that, and let that sink in just for a second. And that's the question that everybody has to ask, isn't it, Eric?
Yes, absolutely. And some of those answers, Patrick, that they're thinking about, be kind. Don't type those in there. This is a family-oriented webinar.
Yes, don't type those in our question box, but just be thinking of what you think of when you think of a salesperson or sales in general.
Yeah, you know, I think whenever I first got into sales a long time ago, it was sleazy. You know, I'm, you know, someone that talks a lot. Just trying to make me buy from them. I think that's what it really all entails.
Well, believe it or not, this question has been asked. What do you think of? What word do you think of, or words, when you hear the word sales? And there is actually a chart that was created. I think this is called a word chart of some kind. And it's a diagram that takes all the most common answers to that question and creates this image that you're seeing here on the screen right now. So it looks like the biggest, oops, sorry, I think I pushed a button there or something. Oh, maybe it goes by itself. I don't know. Anyway, the biggest word was pushy. Everybody thinks of a pushy salesperson, you know. And then, of course, sleazy, difficult, annoying, dishonest, manipulative, and yuck.
Yep. I think the biggest one there, I know pushy is one of them, but people feel like sales is all manipulative. I mean, that really is a big one there. And, you know, I have to tell you this real quick story. Karen and I went to that's my wife, we went to a furniture store the other day, and the first thing she said when we got out of the car, she goes, "Eric, I don't want that salesperson walking around with me." And you realize during that entire visit that we were there, that lady stayed with us. She was not pushy. She was not hard. And as I was leaving there, I told Karen, I said, "I thought you didn't want that salesperson around." She goes, "I didn't realize she was there." That's a good person to help you with your needs. And that's what we kind of want to talk about today.
Yeah, and so Eric found this great quote from a fellow who's written several books on sales specifically. And so I think this is a great quote, Eric. If you approach with information about you, they consider you a salesman. In other words, if you're trying to tell people about your product, all the benefits and the features of it and so forth, it's a pushy feeling.
Yeah.
But then the rest of that quote is good. If you approach with ideas and answers, they consider you a resource. I mean, that's the way I am, Eric. If I've got an insurance guy, for example, I've bought insurance for years, all of our insurance from one guy. He's never come to me with things about him or his products. What he does is he educates me, comes with ideas and answers that I need for my insurance needs, and educates me. And so I look at him as a resource.
Well, and that's really what we try to do here at ABS is just be a resource. I mean, Patrick, every Wednesday, if you think about it, every Wednesday we are being a resource to folks that are on the call, as you hear today. Now, Bob, I'm going to kind of interject a quick question here. Bob is asking a question here. He's saying, is it possible then, Patrick, to get clients through marketing like direct mail, opposed to going into offices and selling your service in person? And I think, as I wanted to kind of throw that out there because I want to encourage other people to go ahead and type in their questions. And Bob, we're actually going to talk about that particular question this afternoon.
Yeah, in fact, on last week's webinar, Eric, you did that, I think, with Jason in our office. And it was all about some of the different techniques that we teach during our live training class. I was actually there at the hotel during the live training, but you were talking about all of these things like direct mail, email marketing, social networking, all sorts of ways that we give people that are specific ways to market this particular service, medical billing. So yes, we do have other ways besides just going out and knocking on doors. Nobody wants to do any cold calling. We don't ask anybody to go out and do any cold calling. So there's lots of different ways that you can approach this. Ooh, I went back to my other screen there, I think. Sorry, here goes. I should have paused that. Okay, so I'm not a salesperson. In fact, everything we teach in our training week here in Dallas, Eric, wouldn't you say that it's not all about the selling because that's not what we teach. We don't. In fact, if there's somebody in the class that has a background in sales, I have to tell them, sorry, you probably need to forget about 90% of everything you've learned about sales.
Yeah, because it's not necessarily about selling. Now, there are elements of selling. Let's not, we can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater on some things, but truly, it's not about selling. It truly is, I believe, what you got coming up next, Patrick, is really the development of who you are, and yeah, that's great. It's developing your relationships, and I know, Patrick, that's probably one of the key elements that we actually talk about in that training week. And I know we're going to get to that here in a little bit about warm markets and stuff like that, but it truly is about developing relationships. And even as I've read, tons of books, articles, and everything, in some ways, we're always selling ourselves because even whenever I met you and you met other people, and we're always trying to basically build a relationship, develop relationships, and that's the biggest part of getting clients here as a licensee.
Well, we know that, and people have probably heard this before. It's nothing new. It's been around for years. People say that people like to do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Correct.
And so that's really what we're teaching people. If you think about it, Eric, it's all about the relationship building, the trust that comes from knowing that another person is not there just for their own benefit. They don't just want everything for them. They want to actually help you solve whatever problem or pain that you have. And so basically we teach our licensees to be consultants going out and solving problems for people. That's a completely different turnaround from somebody who's just trying to push something on someone else to get money out of them.
Yeah, and you know, Patrick, it's been very interesting that people that have become licensees, those that have been on these webinars before, they've learned so much just through our webinars that by the time that they actually got here to training, even though that they really weren't marketing, they were talking about this with their friends, with some of their trusted advisors, and by the time that they get here, they actually have some really warm leads. And so really it's just learning the product, learning the service, what you're able to deliver, because the last thing you've got down here is really developing yourself. And you kind of talk about that in your book on the whole mindset of someone. And I think that's probably most difficult thing for most people is really developing themselves.
Yes, and getting past the mental barrier, I call it, that people have when it comes to marketing. One of the things we teach people, in fact, is to become what we call educational marketers. Meaning, educational marketing is where you're educating, as I said earlier, people on the things that will solve their problems. So that's one of the reasons that I wrote this book with a friend who's a CPA to tell doctors specifically how that they can get more money faster into their professional practice and plug the hidden leaks that are draining their profits. Folks, this is a 176 page paperback book. You can find it on Amazon.com or at any major bookstore. If they don't have it, they can order it for you. It's been out for a few years now because what we did was we researched all the problems that doctors have in their office, specifically about their cash flow problems. And then we found solutions that we could offer to those doctors through licensees. So this book can be used as a marketing tool for you. It has no reference to American business systems in it. In fact, it's a book that any doctor can buy. We sell it on Amazon, as I said. But you can buy it from us at our printing cost. Now, it's $14.95 retail, but you can buy it for like about $3 a piece. That's our printing cost, literally. And you put your name and contact information in the side of the front cover and use this to educate the doctors. So, Eric, I think we have this in an ebook format if people wanted to get a copy of this, don't we?
I was about to ask you. I know you love to give things away. So let's do this. Everybody that's live on the webinar today, you're here. We know that you've signed in. How about we just give this to every attendee today on the webinar? So what we're asking you to do is get back with your ABS rep and ask for the ebook. It's in a PDF format of the Cash Crunch to Cash Flow book.
Yeah, that's a good book to kind of familiarize yourself with what the problems really are that the doctors have out there. And by reading this book, you'll be educating yourself on our business. So let me just pause here just for a second, Eric, to talk about what we're doing here. If you think about it, folks, we are practicing and illustrating for you exactly what we teach our licensees. That is, over the last 20 years, we've learned how to market our opportunity to people, and that's by educating them. So here you are on this webinar today. Some of you have been on these webinars for weeks, maybe months, maybe years.
Right.
And that's okay. You can come back as often as you want. They're every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central Time, and we always try to have a little bit different content each time to tell you about the medical billing business. Well, folks, we're illustrating to you exactly what you should be doing to make sure that you are educated on our business. And that's what we teach you to do with the doctors that are out there.
Absolutely. Because again, what we're trying to do is first of all build a relationship with you. With building that relationship, hopefully we're building trust with you. We're providing, again, you a relationship and a solution. And again, that we're always, again, Patrick and I and the rest of our team is always trying to develop who we are as well. So we're really trying to stick within the boundaries of what we kind of establish. So again, we just want to remind you, just get with your ABS rep. We'll get you a copy of this ebook this afternoon.
Now, Eric, let's kind of move into the thinking that you and I kind of brainstormed as we were developing this webinar about people and their mindset. If you've been working for other people most of your life, and have never been a business owner, this is a completely different mindset that you have to have. You
That's
are
right.
now, when you become an ABS licensee by investing with us and coming to our live training, you then are a business owner. Now
Right.
it's something completely different from just punching in and punching out and getting a paycheck from somebody else.
Yeah, and you realize, Patrick, if we think about it, most businesses that we maybe have worked for in the past, whatever corporation, that there have been somebody out there selling that particular service or that particular product. It just maybe we've never been in that arena. Now, as a business owner, boy, that big word comes available. How am I going to generate revenue now? How is that going to happen, Patrick?
Well, we know, again, after working with our licensees for the last 20 years, that the top priority of anybody in business is revenue.
Right.
And the problem is that most people don't realize where that revenue comes from, and they don't think this through. But revenue always comes from having clients. That is, clients, I tell people, clients who actually write a check each month to you
Right.
and pay you. and and so everybody knows that we have to have clients, we have to have customers in any business.
Right.
But what they don't realize is, where those clients come from and how do they come? Well, look, if you open up a sandwich shop somewhere and spend enough money on a retail front and signage, and maybe do some direct mail pieces to the whole area within 2 mile radius, you could spend thousands of dollars doing that, and you'd probably get customers, right? They're going to walk in. Some people are going to say, "Oh, here's a coupon for 50% off. I'm going to go get this sandwich." So that's different from having a business that's a service-oriented business like medical billing. And there are companies out there who tell people that get into this business that they should send out letters, for example. Tell all the
Right.
doctors that you just opened up a medical billing business, or put up a billboard, one of them says. There's all kinds of things that just don't work in today's world. So we have to talk about the things that actually do work, and one of them is we provide you with what we call your own ABS Magic Sales Genie. I just came up with this, Eric, because I thought it was funny. Of course, we don't do that, right?
No, we don't. We don't. There's no magic genie. I know that so many of us wish that we could just have that little genie lamp and rub on it and go, oh, maybe somebody will come to my business, or this genie will come out and go get me some clients.
Right. And of course, that's not going to happen. So if there's no genie, then what do we teach you to do? Well, you become what we call a trained, educated medical revenue cycle specialist. Now, if that term is not familiar with you, look at that flyer that we've got illustrated here on this slide. Uh, it talks about revenue cycle management. In a doctor's office, that term is very familiar. They think of everything that is inside the doctor's practice that brings in revenue, money, as their revenue cycle. That includes, of course, billing the insurance companies, billing Medicare and Medicaid, and collecting the money, of course, from the patients that owe, a portion of that bill as well.
Yeah, and let me ask this question to you because this is a good question, and this is a good time to ask this question from David. He asked, well, how do you get through a good gatekeeper?
Great, David. You at least know the term. Some people may be unfamiliar with that. Gatekeeper is the person who that's literally their job, right? To keep the gate closed around the castle so that nobody can get into the king. In this case, the doctor, right? And so the gatekeeper in most doctors' offices are the office manager,
Right.
sometimes the wife. The wife is the office manager if it's a small practice. And so you're asking, how is it that you get past that person? So you're kind of jumping ahead of us, knowing that there is an art to somehow getting to the doctor, him or herself. Because let's face it, they're the ones that it's their cash flow, it's their practice,
Right.
it's their business. And bottom line, you have to know how to do that. So I would tell you right now, but then I'd have to kill you. So we'll have to
Right.
save that for our live training workshop. It is a great question, though. But David, just rest assured, we've figured that out. We have ways to get things, for example, directly into the hands of the doctor, him or herself, bypassing that person that might be keeping you from seeing the doctor. Because let's face it, in some cases, that person is probably worried that you're going to take away their job. If they are the primary biller, and it's not the wife would gladly give it away, I'm sure, in most cases. But if they're not the wife, then, or the husband in some cases, then you're right. They don't want you to see the doctor. And we figured out how to do that, and we'll teach you that in detail. Again, we've got 30 minutes left here, and we've got 35 hours in our live training workshop.
Exactly. So yeah, David, just and again, we'll go through those today. Go check out some of our other webinars. We've actually talked about how to get through that gatekeeper as well. So go to that absystems.com/blog, and you'll be able to find all of our webinars posted there. So Patrick, I mean, just like the people that are here, you and I kind of talked about this as well. We know about the money investment, but now we're going to talk about people's time. And just like people are doing right now, people are investing a lot of time learning about the medical billing business. If not, they wouldn't be on these webinars. Also, they've invested just a lot of effort in investigating the entire business opportunity about this whole area. And you've researched even the competition. And I bet you, whenever they've even gotten to that part, you start losing sleep thinking about how it's all going to work. So I
yes,
know
we've
that
had
I've
people
been that way too before. You kind of go, okay, I think this is really good. I think it's a good business opportunity, and you put your head down on the pillow, and you can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah, when you get to that point, you know that this is something that you probably ought to get involved in. Now, we're honest with folks and tell people all the time that this is not for everybody. This business is not for everybody. It could be that it's not right for you and your family and your particular work situation. There's all kinds of things that might be better suited to you out there. But folks, as you look at this business, anything in the medical field has got a huge future. It's a 1/6 of the nation's economy, soon to be 1/5, and it's growing. As long as there's people, as long as people get sick, as long as there's doctors and insurance, there'll always be a need for people helping the doctor to get his money from the insurance companies.
Exactly. So whenever it gets down to it, Patrick, let's talk about, who's better knows this business than you do. And I think we've seen this happen with licensees that have come in. They get into this business, they're thinking, oh, I may need to go hire some sales reps. But I think they'll find out that nobody has more knowledge about their business, nobody has more passion about this business than you as the licensee. And nobody can share the vision and tell the story. I mean, I think that's a whole part of what we're trying to explain here, and I think everybody will start to see how it all interacts with each other with all the different services. So really, Patrick, nobody but you as a licensee or you as a potential licensee, nobody knows this business better than you do.
And
American Business Systems.
Yeah, and American Business Systems. Because folks, look, again, we try to emphasize to the folks that we're not new here on the block. This has been around for 20 years. My wife started doing medical billing back in 1987. By 1994, we'd built a very substantial business and decided that there was a need out there in the marketplace for people who wanted to learn how to do what we had done. So we started training and teaching people and supporting people, and we've been doing that for 20 years. So we do know, and we do have a vital vested interest in you, and we know what the vision for this business, should be for everybody, and we know that you have invested a lot of time in it as well. So we want to do whatever we can to help you get there. Let's see. I think I went backwards there somewhere, didn't I? I don't know how I got lost there.
Yeah, you went
there we go. Okay. Oh, does that look like it's doing the same thing over and over again?
There you go. I think you're going forward again.
Okay.
But while we're trying to get picked up on these slides here, folks, what you have to understand is in so many business opportunities that you get involved with, you buy the business opportunity or you get involved with the franchise, and you're almost kind of left by yourself. Uh, we take a vital role in building your business. So that's why we say, nobody knows the vision better than you do. Nobody can tell the story better than you can. And American Business Systems. That's why we're here. Patrick, you know that just 2.5 hours ago, I was actually on a demo with one of our licensees who is working with a new potential client up in Chicago, and I did a 30-minute demo webinar with them with this particular doctor who was a family practitioner. Great visit with him. And here was this licensee. Basically what he did, Patrick, and I know we're going to talk about that here in a moment, but basically he just turned it over to me. I did the demo. I answered all the questions. But folks, I just want to let you know that this is how we interact and work with you. So you're not alone. So when we train you, we're not only training you, we're really positioning you as what Patrick has here on the screen now as a revenue cycle specialist.
Yeah, so what does that mean, Eric? We've used this term. We train you to be a revenue cycle specialist, but how exactly do we train them to use that positioning to go out and market the medical billing services? Well, one of the ways is by what you see here now. These are some of the marketing tools and the live training agenda there and the books and other portfolios and so forth that we've developed and spent thousands of dollars developing so that we can position people correctly when they go out and market our services. Folks, if you just print up something on your, we've seen this, haven't we, Eric? I've seen some funny marketing materials. I say funny just because they're created on somebody's computer and they print it out on their inkjet printer, and it's a little trifold brochure, and it looks very homemade and crude. As you can see, folks, we have professionally designed materials that when you go out and market our services, you're going to look like a professional. You're going to look like somebody that is a consultant that didn't just start this in their own home on their own, but you're a part of something that's much larger. Again, you don't have this type of materials from somebody that just works out of their home usually. That's why you can position yourself as a specialist out there.
Yeah, and when we're talking about medical revenue cycles, we're talking more than just billing. I was talking to a brand new individual today that I never talked with before, and that's what he was saying. Tell me a little bit about this business. Well, I first had to say it's bigger than just doing medical billing. It is truly the full revenue cycle of that doctor. And, we're always looking for ways to help our new licensees and even those that have been around for quite some time of how to gain more doctors. And Patrick, you know that we're doing that all the time. So that's what we're here to help you with. And if you've got an idea, we like to hear it. We kind of bounce that back off. We research it, we develop it, and then roll all of that information back out right on out to our licensees. So that's been a big help with even from hearing from our licensees of how we can improve some of the marketing tools that we do have.
I love this comment here. I'm going to pause and read this comment. I don't think it's a question, but anyway, I haven't got through the whole thing, but it's by Gary. Gary says, I've employed several, I guess he's talking about salespeople. I do not subscribe to, quote, selling. No one wants to be sold, but they want to buy. I believe in educating your prospect and creating yourself as the expert so that they trust you and want to do business with you. Isn't that ingenious? He sounds like he works for us. You're right, Gary. You have to be, in today's world, I want to do business with the guy that's the expert in insurance, for example, or in investments, or in banking. The expert is who I want to do business with, and we position our licensees to be that very thing out there.
Exactly.
Let me get back to the slides here if I can. Oh, boy. Okay. Now then, there we go. All right, so Eric, we've developed a lot of good marketing materials. Now, some of the methods. What are some of the methods that we use to teach people?
Yeah, let's kind of start talking about that. And one, I think that can be a little challenging talking about over a webinar is business networking. And I think it's because of a mentality of what people might think about that word networking. So,
Yeah, they always relate that. Sometimes when I bring it up in our training, oh, network marketing. I've been there. I've been to some of those meetings where they draw circles on a whiteboard, and try to get me to invest. And network marketing, folks, is like some of these companies you see illustrated. That's where you buy a kit of some kind to get started, and then you enroll other people who then enroll other people who enroll other people, and you make a little bit off of each one of those people's sales. But this is not what we're talking about when we talk about networking. Business networking is completely different.
right,
It looks something like this. Uh, Business networking groups get together for breakfast, usually, or lunch, or sometimes even after hours. And they get together in small groups. Look, these are just other business people. Maybe in one networking group, you've got a financial advisor. You've got a guy who sells maybe insurance. You have another person who's a realtor. You have another banker. You have a CPA. You can have a doctor in some of these groups. They just get together and they just share with one another what they do and hopefully tap into your what we call your mental Rolodex. Eric, everybody knows 250 people, right? So
right,
I want to meet with those. Look at this picture here. I don't know what this is. Maybe 30 people.
right.
Imagine each one of those people knowing 250 people. I can tap into that network of
Right.
those people's contacts and be introduced by them to someone who might be a good prospect for medical billing.
Yeah, because most people understand that, we tend to buy from people of who, again, we know or we trust, or if a friend of ours recommends us to somebody. And that's what these actually end up doing. And so folks, again, don't get kind of freaked out about the word networking. It's not that multi-level marketing that we're talking. You're not going to have to go ask your mother or your dad again to buy another tube of toothpaste, right?
That costs $12.
Yeah, they cost $12. We're dealing with business networking, and we actually show you, and we've got it mapped out, even in a presentation that you can use in a flip chart or on an iPad. So we've got it electronically. So we seem to see that this particular method works extremely well with people getting their first client. Wouldn't you agree, Pat?
I can't tell you, Eric, how many of our licensees knew nothing about this, or some of them have been to business networking
Right.
meetings in the past, if they've been in business for themselves. But they said the way we teach it and the specific guidelines we give for networking work very well and help them to get their very first client. We teach, for example, the best places to network, how to find the networking groups that are in your area that are the best groups that you should be associating with. Some of them you shouldn't go to. Professional associations that are in your area of all kinds, and why this could be your only marketing method that you've ever used. I think of Bonnie Preston,
Yeah.
Eric, as
Yeah.
one of our licensees who was working a 50-hour week as an IT guru in a little gray cubicle, and she describes it as being there for 20 years. She got tired of it. She wanted her own business, and using business networking that we taught her, she went out and built a very successful medical billing business just with that one
Yeah.
method alone.
Now, I want to kind of bridge something here real quickly, Patrick. It's with this business networking that is a key element to, again, getting people, um, getting these relations started, getting those relationships building, and then kind of going back to what Bob was saying earlier. This is where the effectiveness of direct mailing actually comes into play. Because once you've got a few people that you're working with, and they say, hey, yeah, I don't mind giving my name out or giving your name out to somebody, and then you start to make that bond there, then Bob, you're not having to do what we know as old direct marketing, mail marketing, and costing you a fortune. This is where it gets very focused, very laser type of marketing here.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit, Eric, about one of the other things that we teach because, again, because people don't think of themselves as salespeople. Some people don't even have time, outside
Right.
their regular full-time job to work on a business. So how could those people build their business? Well, in our training class, we go through an entire program on finding, hiring, and working with sales reps.
Yeah, and these folks can be professional sales reps, or they can already be people that are just already have connections with doctors, and that could be pharmaceutical reps. My goodness, medical devices, um, and really, instead of these really becoming just all-out sales reps, a lot of these people, so that they don't violate their contracts, they basically become really what I would consider to be like a power rep, so to say, someone just to get the connection there. But if you really want to full-time sales reps, we teach you everything about how to find them, interview them, hire them, train them, pay them, motivate them. I mean, we can do it all there.
By the way, these people that we teach you to hire are people who are willing to work on a commission basis only. You don't have to put out
Right.
any money for these people unless you want to buy them, 250 business cards for $10. What you do is you train them to go out and market your services, and they make a portion of what's called the setup fee. So when you sign up a new practice, there's always a setup fee for just about any product or service out there. Well, we have one involved as well, and you give a big portion of that to the sales reps, so they can make $1,000 up front just by signing up a doctor, and then many licensees will pay them a small percentage of the money that's actually collected for the doctor for a limited period of time. Anyway, we go into more detail in that in the live training class, but I just thought I would mention you don't have to think about putting out any money for these people, because salespeople love money, but they also love to work on a commission basis so they can make as much of that money as they possibly can.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned that if you run across a sales rep with, again, a pharmaceutical company or medical device or whatever else it might be, all they may want, Patrick, is just a finder's fee. And if they got a finder's fee of $1,000 or $1,500, and it doesn't violate their contract of what they're currently doing, that may be the perfect thing. And we've known a lot of our ABS licensees that actually got their first or second or third client by utilizing folks like that.
Yeah, many of them have been very successful with our sales rep program.
Yeah,
All right, so
absolutely.
let's go back to the slides here and talk about how we position the licensees. It's called consultative marketing. Now, that's just a fancy word that means you don't go in and try to sell anything. We teach you to do what's called a practice analysis. And that practice analysis is a two-page questionnaire that basically asks the types of questions that finds out if there is a need for your products or services. We don't assume that there is, although there usually is, but we want to know exactly what their situation is in the office so that we can come back with a proposal that spells out exactly what we found and what the solutions are. So we ask questions like, is your current system server based or web based? That's important that you know if they're using a software system in their own office, one or the other. You want to know how many claims they process each month and what they're currently spending on those people in the office who do their billing currently. Because, folks, with our practice analysis tool, Eric, we probably show doctors thousands of dollars in savings, don't we, each year,
Yeah.
just by outsourcing their billing to one of our licensees.
Yeah, because this is a great question. Let's just kind of talk about it here. A lot of people ask that if they doesn't the doctor wouldn't it be cheaper if they just did their own billing? And I think once we get people through that practice analysis, because what we're pulling from that is, we're taking in consideration the salary of the person that's actually doing the billing, the cost of the software, um, any updates that go along with it, and then there is some other elements that we throw in the mix, and then there is a tool that we take all of those numbers, put it in an Excel spreadsheet, and then it populates back for the licensee a report showing, Doc, this is how much you're really actually spending doing the billing. And if you calculate that out, Doc, really what you're spending is about 12 to 14 to 15% on whenever I can do it for less than 6 or 7. So,
Right.
and that includes the software. So that there is a huge savings that can actually happen right there.
And there is a certain number, a percentage of doctors out there, folks, that have already been educated to the point where they realize they don't need to be messing with the billing. That's not their core competency. Their core competency is seeing patients and helping patients to get well. And with the new Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, as it's called, in effect now, they'll be seeing that many more patients. So they need to focus on the patients and let somebody who has been trained and has been specialized in the field of billing do the billing and outsourcing.
And again, that's where we come involved. I think so we don't lose track of that. You don't lose track of that. That's where, again, ABS comes involved. I mean, you're going to have the longevity and referrals and everything else that goes along with you getting your first client, including, after you got all that information, how to put the pricing together. And Patrick, we get asked a lot on the front end of calls, well, what am I going to charge? Matter of fact, I think we've got a question here this afternoon. What is the average percentage that most people charge? That's from Trudy. Great question. Trudy, there's not really a necessary set number that we can throw out and say, oh, if you just charge 5% or if you just charge 7%, that's going to fit the doctor's needs. You won't know that until you get to and do a practice analysis, and then that's where you take that and put it all together with the pricing and proposal.
And these proposals, by the way, folks, are already created for you. They're templates, they're called. That is, it's a Word document, Microsoft Word, and it's already been created with everything you need. The wording is there. All you need to do is decide from your practice analysis which of our products and services you want to offer to solve the problems in that practice, and then just delete out the ones that you don't want, leaving you with what you do. So we go over this with you in detail in the training, teach you exactly how to do that, and like Eric said, we help you with the pricing and we'll review that proposal for you as a part of your support from ABS.
Right. Because we don't want you to get out there and then put a piece of pricing out there and it not be exactly what you need for out there in the marketplace, because the last thing we want you to do is kind of be upside down. So we'll work with you. And how you present that is another thing. Again, we talk about it's all about positioning. And what Patrick is showing on the screen right now, this is a very heavy cardstock folder. I mean, it's a big one. I mean, so that you can put all your proposals in, you can put all those marketing slicks that we have, and they're all high gloss type of information, like what Patrick's showing you right there, and a place for your business card right smack dab right there. So, as you walk out the door day one, you look like you know what you're doing.
Right, and you will know what you're doing. Now, Eric, let me just touch on that just for a second, because people are always worried about, well, how am I going to establish any credibility when I've just started in business? Right. What you're seeing, folks, is part of the reason that our licensees are able to sign up clients, because they look like they are much more than just somebody working out of their spare bedroom in their underwear or pajamas. I mean, you may be. That may be where you run your business. I'd say 90% of our licensees never open a commercial office of any kind. They do work out of their home. But folks, you don't want to appear to be that. What you want to appear is to be what you really are, and position yourself as someone who's opened a local office for the nation's largest network of independent medical billing companies. Now, doesn't that make you sound much larger? You can say we do thousands of claims every day for hundreds of doctors from coast to coast. We do. The network you're a part of does. And so you can position yourself as being appearing much larger than you really are when you start out. Okay, Eric, we're getting close to the top of the hour here, so let's just move on through, I guess.
let's move on through.
All right, let me see if I can just switch back here, and we'll talk about the demos that you mentioned earlier. Now, this is something that, Eric, when people first hear it, I don't think they really can wrap their brain around this. Why don't you kind of
Yeah.
explain here with the next illustration or two what that's
Yeah.
all about?
Let's imagine that just like what we're doing today on a GoToWebinar, we're all logged in, we're all listening in, we're all calling into the same number here basically. Except the difference is that it's between us as your support, you and your business and your doctor. It's not opened up to everybody like it is right now. It's very personal between, again, as you can see illustrated here, this is between us, uh, some of our support team. There's about 5 of us that actually do the demos. You could be at home, you could be at the doctor's office there with the doctor, or not there, and then the doctor's on their computer, and it's during around their time. That's the beauty of it. Again, this one licensee that I did today, he called me up and just says the only time this doctor can meet is between 12:30 and 1 o'clock. And I said, it just so happens that I'm available for that for today to be able to do that. So that's what we're talking about here, folks. And it was so cool, Patrick, because the doctor was thanking me for showing him the system, and this doctor had no clue that I was not in that same office with that licensee. He just didn't
Yeah.
know, didn't
No.
ask.
No, the
And he just said, Eric, thank you so much. You've made a world of sense. I got it. And I turned it right back over to the licensee. Matter of fact, whenever I got off of there, 10 minutes later, I get a text from him going, Eric, thank you so much. This was a win. This is a win. So
Yeah.
that's what we do. Now, Patrick, when you do your best to try to build what we just talked about and the value that the licensees or potential licensees are thinking about in this business, what value is that?
Well, first, let me kind of make sure that everybody understands what we're demonstrating when we connect like this. We're showing them our cloud-based practice management system that has a built-in scheduler that the doctor can use. We show them live how that they can show the eligibility of a patient in real time and tap into the insurance company's database to pull that data directly into our system. We show them so many things, folks, that the doctor literally throughout most of these webinars and demos, they're going, wow. Isn't that what you hear most of the time, Eric? On the other end, the doctor's going, wow, because they've never seen anything like this, folks. We want them to see the system that you will be using to solve their cash flow problems. It gives them a reassurance that it really is cloud-based and that they will have access to the system themselves to be able to see the real-time status of their claims. They'll know exactly where their money is at all times. So you eliminate that problem, that question that some doctors have about turning their billing over to somebody else because they feel like they've lost control. Not with our system.
No. And that was what was so cool today, Patrick. Matter of fact, now some people may not, that are on the call today or listen to it later, may not understand what I'm talking about. But you mentioned about eligibility, insurance eligibility. He asked me, oh, are you going through this one company called Avality? I said, no, sir, we're not going through Avality. We own our own clearinghouse, so we're going directly to the insurance companies. And I swear to you, the guy said, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
And
folks, those of you watching the live webinar right now, of course, are seeing Eric and I on video. Now, when this is recorded, it just shows the last slide that was on the screen when I paused it. But you can see that Eric and I are both working right now out of separate offices in 2 different locations. Probably Eric, 30, 40 miles apart.
Yeah, at least.
And yet, you wouldn't know that unless we told you that. The same thing is true with you when you're on these webinars. We don't turn on the videos during the webinars, the demos. You are actually on there along with us, and the doctor can ask questions, and we will answer all the questions for you. You don't have to answer a thing. Now, you do want to be ready for the last question that the doctor usually asks, which is, well,
How
how do I
much?
get started? What do I do next?
How much? What do I do to get started?
Right.
Exactly.
But that's about all you need to know. So okay. So anyway, that I don't know how valuable this is, Eric. It's for the life. Our licensees never pay for these demos, folks. You will have us doing this for you as many times as you wish, because the model that we've set up for our company is that we do make a few pennies on each one of the claims that goes through our system. And so it's a win-win for everybody if we help you to get that client.
Exactly.
Well, Eric, we're pretty close here. Hey, this is a great question, though. Let me go back here to Daniel's question. He says, what happens if a prospective client asks for references?
That's great.
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Eric, Daniel, because that's one of the things that if you set up a demo and we do the demo for your doctor, we can give that doctor references, other doctors, other practices, even within his own specialty, that he can
Right.
call and ask, how do you like this system?
Exactly. Yep, that's what we can do, and that's the beauty again about being a licensee. So again, let's kind of put a wrap up to it. You're in business. You're a brand new business owner. Yes, you've got to figure out how to get revenue. We help you through every step, even to the last part. But Patrick, let's talk a little bit because we are coming up to the top of the hour, and I know you kind of like to end with this whenever people are that are thinking about getting into this business because again, this part of it is just as important on with everything else, and that is your guarantee about learning about this business because really the only time that they can truly get a good understanding is when they get to training.
Yes, folks, we don't know how to convey really, even on these webinars, uh, the exact things that we go through in detail in our live training. We're the only company, by the way, that does the live training on site here at a hotel, a Marriott hotel here near the DFW airport, and it's for 5 full days from 8 to 5:30 each day. So that's the only way we know to convey to you exactly what this business is all about. We can tell you all kinds of stuff, but until you see it for yourself, you won't know. That's why I came up with this guarantee that's unheard of in this industry, to let somebody come down to our live training and sit through the entire thing. I mean, not just the first day or the 2 days, but all 5 days. And at the end, if you don't think that this business is right for you for any reason, folks, you just let any of my staff members know, and we will give you a full refund of your entire license fee that you paid to us. We don't keep one penny of your money. Now, you're out a little bit, of course, for your travel to get here, and of course, a little hotel stay. But we're talking $1,000 maximum here, folks, to find out if this is for real. And we've only had 3 refunds in the last 20 years doing this, where people ask for their money back during the training. So I think that's a pretty good record, don't you, Eric?
Absolutely. And we do. We want you to feel comfortable. We want you to know that you can trust us. I think that's one of the biggest things, and that's what we actually started with off at the front, is that, we want you to know who we are, build a relationship, that you can trust us. Because I think that's what a lot of people don't really understand, Patrick, is after they get here or when they're first getting here to training, I think they're kind of thinking in the back of their heads, wow,
Yeah.
how do I know this is going to work?
Are we for real? Yeah.
Are we for real? And by the end of the first, second day, they understand that we're here and we're here for you.
Well,
So,
one of
folks,
the ways.
oh, go ahead.
Sorry, one of the ways that people can prove that is by going here to our blog. We have a YouTube channel out there. In fact, there it is right there in the middle, youtube.com YABS. If you go straight there, you'll be able to see all kinds of videos. Many of them are testimonials from people who have just completed our training class or
Exactly.
had completed it within the last year. We've got lots of videos on there. So if you want to really educate yourself on us as a company, who we are as people, and are we for real, this is a good way to prove that to yourself. You'll see from the reactions of the people who've gone through our training that it's all we say and then more.
Exactly. And then you can, for you tech savvy people, you can always follow us on Twitter. Now, I don't know, Patrick, I don't know if you're a Twitter dude. I know I'm not that
I
much.
have not. I've never tweeted in my life. But my son, who's the president of the company, is big on Twitter and uses it to blast out all kinds of information to our licensees and to people like yourselves who are just looking at getting into our business. So there we are, just at AB Systems that you see right here. That's all you use in Twitter to get on our tweet feed.
Twitter account or Twitter feed.
Right.
And get Twittered.
That's right.
All right. Hey, folks, give us a call here at 866-565-8413. You can see when our next training class is coming up.